Skateboard Madness really was just a giant experiment at a really interesting crossroads of skateboarding because it documented a lot of aspects of skateboarding that died, and it was just starting to document a lot of aspects of skateboarding that really were going to become standardized.
Florida's Alan Gelfand, originator of the Ollie Air.
Well, rarely do you see a film that actually you can see an evolution happening within the film without even the film telling you it's happening. I knew Hal Jepsen because Hal was a really famous surf filmmaker when I was a kid. He made Cosmic Children, he made See For Yourself, and he was a really popular guy back then in the surf film genre.
The theme of Skateboard Madness, I would say, it represented a very heavy soul of the season.
I need an esoteric, eclectic skate zone, safety. I don't know what I need. I need something outrageous.
Hal was trying to find the story of that film while he was shooting the film.
I want something new, and I want it now. I want something fresh and different. We got competition.
And that was really the problem with the film, is the film never was able to get its niche, because every time it would film something, something new would happen, and Hal kept chasing all these new things. I mean, like any good filmmaker, he wanted to get everything that was new, but it never stopped getting new. It's all over the place.
So after a hearty burger breakfast, the guys elect to check out some inner-city skaters at one of the many abandoned swimming pools that pepper the barrios of Los Angeles.
It was really good for the kids because, you know, nobody
gives them something to do, you know, they're not on the streets all the time just, you know, dealing with drugs and stuff like that. Something for them to get into, you know, they can work at.
It's more like a film that a skate anthropologist would like to look at and see all the different evolutionary changes that were like colliding at one time. For instance, when we first started skateboarding in pipes, it was the first time we were able to go over vertical. And what happened after skateboarding in these Arizona pipes is the skateboard parks started building these trough-like half pipes. They were just like a horseshoe. There was no flat bottom, and they were these long, like half tubes, and you just go ride them, you know, back and forth. Most of the skate parks that were made during the 70s really were poorly made, and so many of them, in fact, almost all of them went out of business. Some ingenious kids said, I'm gonna make a ramp, a skateboard ramp. So they started building these half-pipe ramps based on skateboard parks, which were, again, like these little horseshoe ramps. It wasn't until the 80s that someone realized you have to pull the ramps apart to give them flat bottom and a chance to set up at the bottom for the other side. And then that became the standard ramp. One of the guys that's featured in the film, the skateboarder Kent Senator, his mother and stepfather financed a good portion of this film, and they decided to make this ramp called the Turning Point Ramp, which was this big plastic capsule. What that capsule was, it was a bold experiment. It was a really bold skateboarding experiment to see if guys could get upside down, and in fact they could, but they didn't get completely upside down. They got angled upside down. But what happened was, skating inside the thing was very hot, and it became extremely repetitive. You could basically do a couple of kick turns and a carve. After a while, you felt like a hamster. Do you know what that capsule ended up being? At the end of the film, I believe it ended up being somebody's greenhouse.
So it's back on the road and down the coast for our wayward wanderers. Mellowcat has snapped some great shots, and things are working out rather tastily.
Phil Hartman, he had a voice. We used his Gotham voice. I think it works.
He even decides to pick up another hitchhiker.
There were many, many cooks that worked in this kitchen that made this film. You know, I mean, Craig Stesic was involved, Paul Gross was involved, Hal Jepsen was, you know, the guy the whole time, Julian Pina was involved. All these people came and went. And as a result of it, the film has the look of many directors' fingerprints.
Hey, I'm getting older. Oh, wow. What the? I must have passed through the time warp. 60 years plus.
I think the value of Skateboard Madness is there's bits and nuggets for people to look back on and go, wow, that's the way people looked back then, that's the way they dressed, that's the kind of boards they rode, that's the kind of wheels they rode, that's the kind of terrain they rode. That's the bonus for looking at something like Skate Madness. It gives you a look into a past time.
On almost any weekend, you'll find various madmen perfecting their radical techniques. This guy at La Costa won first prize for best face and body contact.
What can I say about Stacy Peralta? An all-around performer, graceful and yet again willing to take chances. Some say he could be the most natural man on wheels. Others say he could be on goofballs. Who knows? In either case, he is an innovator and a force to be reckoned with in the future.